Welcome to the MS&Me Radio Network, a division of the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network. The following program broadcast is an original creation by the broadcast entity. Discussion within the following broadcast should be used for informational purposes only and is not a substitute for professional medical advice or consultation. Before considering application of any broadcast content in the following program, please consult your healthcare provider. If you feel you are having a medical emergency, please contact your local health services for immediate assistance. MS&Me Media and the Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network do not guarantee or warrant the accuracy of information in the broadcast to follow. The Multiple Sclerosis Global Support Network provisions broadcast services to program hosts. Information discussed in the broadcast does not necessarily reflect the views, opinions, or goals of the network and are solely those of the show broadcast host. Should you wish to host a broadcast, please visit our website at msmemedia.com and submit a request to become a program host. We thank you for listening to the MS&Me Radio Network. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in with me again this week here on MS&Me Radio. My name is Anisha again, and this is MS Journey. I want to start this week by saying and just making sure to let everyone know in Florida and also in Texas, you guys are still in my prayers. Also further out west there with the fires, you guys are definitely in my prayers as well. There's just so much that's going on, but just know that you guys are being prayed for. This week, I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple things that may make me a little bit unpopular with a couple people. But you know what? It is what it is, because I'm all about people advocating for themselves. I'm all about, everyone kind of knowing accurate and good information that they can actually research and, be able to find, what's right. And again, making sure that communication is great between you and your doctor. That's very important because, again, as I've said in many of my shows, is that that's most important, is that communication between you and your doctor. And remember, that's all of your doctors. Okay. So what I want to talk to you guys about this week is when other people try and direct your treatment path, or you can almost look at it like when people are trying to give you advice and the advice seems harmless, but at the same time, it can be dangerous. Okay. It can really, really, really be dangerous. All right. So that's kind of the path that we're going to take this week here on MS Journey. And there's reasons why I'm going to talk to you guys about this. Okay. The first thing with this is diet. Okay. Now, I'm quick to tell y'all about anything that happens to me or anything that I do, anything that I've done, mistakes that I've made along this course, this journey, which has led me to being an MS veteran. Again, that twofold name. One of which is diet. Okay. I had decided at one point that, hey, I'm going to become, I'm not going to eat meat. I'm just not going to do it. Okay. Well, at that time when I decided that, y'all, I barely weighed $105 soaking wet with bricks in my pocket. Okay. That wasn't a good idea for me to do. Let me just go right ahead and tell y'all that. It was not the smartest thing for me to do. And I did it without, talking to my doctors. I just decided that I was going to do it because I'd heard many people talking about it and, how it worked for them. That was a dangerous thing that I did. And it actually set me back medically with a lot of things. Okay. So talk with your doctors about your diet and eliminating foods from the food groups. Talk with your doctors about this if that's something that you want to do. Okay, because it's very important not only for yourself, but also for your doctors to know what you're taking in. Okay, not just medication, but even with food. Okay, because those food groups that's been out for many years, those things are still important and they're still in play. And a lot of people will just cut certain things from their diet, like, well, I'm not going to, I'm going to go gluten free. You know what? That's somebody's choice if they choose to do that. I have several friends that have celiac disease, and I know that they absolutely have to, because if they don't, they're going to be completely sick if they ingest any type of, wheat or anything like that. It absolutely makes them sick. Also, multiple sclerosis can mimic celiac disease. So whenever I was in the process of being diagnosed, I was checked right away to make sure that I did not have celiac disease. So when it was taken away from me, it was quickly given back, because I had lost so much weight, because I had to, just try to not eat it to see if that was going to make a difference for me. And it didn't. And then once all the tests came back, and guess what? I did not have celiacs. It was okay for me to eat those things, okay? And, the doctor and the nutritionist, they quickly gave it back to me, okay? So eliminating foods from your diet, because too much of anything, bad or good, can be bad. Let's just face it. I mean, I really feel like we're going to come to a time where the safest thing for us to, I don't know, to do is breathe, and that's going to be expensive. I mean, everything is just costly, and all that. And for these people that do have celiac disease, it's so expensive for them to have to eat that way, and things like that. And gosh love them, because I tell you, I don't know that I could be that disciplined to do so. And celiac is a tough disease. I also have a very, very, very great friend of mine who lives with celiac and MS, both. So I just absolutely, she's tough, man. She's one of the best people I know. One of my sisters, man, in many ways and many walks, through life. She's an amazing person. And I tell you, I really admire her, and I look up to her in a lot of ways, because that has to be tough. But please make sure that if you're thinking of, some type of diet that you want to try, to see if that's going to help you, that you talk with your doctor, and doctors, note if you have more than one, okay? And also talk to your doctors about referring you to a nutritionist, okay? Because you want to make sure that no matter what route you're doing things, that you're doing it in a healthy manner, okay? That's very important. I ended up losing about 35 or 40 pounds back earlier, the end part of last year, because I had pneumonia. And it had gotten so bad that I was just ill, just coughing, and, that would then lead to me getting sick and all this other stuff. And I ended up losing a lot of weight. And I also have, they found another issue that I'm not quite ready to talk about, but, they had to do surgery to, get rid of that. And we'll be doing treatments to, go forward on that end. And when I say end, I do mean end. We'll get to correcting that later, but just know that it's important that everyone is on the same sheet of music, because in order for me to gain that weight back and to do it in a healthy way, my diet had to be between 3,500 and 4,000 calories a day. Okay. Was it rough? Indeed it was. Because at first when I started it, all I was able to do was eat and sleep. Okay. That was it. I was so full. I would just sleep, eat, then sleep, wake up, eat again, go back to sleep, eat again. But then I eventually got accustomed to it. If anybody ever wants any, information about that, you can actually, again, a nutritionist will be able to help you out with it. I technically, could too as well, if you have problems, kind of keeping weight on. But again, this was all done in a very controlled way in between my MS specialist, my neurologist, my rheumatologist, my gastroenterologist, my oncologist, my it was all done in a very controlled way, very controlled. And I was able to get that weight back on. And I had to add a lot of extra things to my food, which some people were like, oh my gosh, are you okay with that? Guess what? In order to preserve life, because I had then got hit with that failure to thrive diagnosis, because I was no longer thriving with having multiple sclerosis, it became less important about technically, how I was eating. It was what I was eating to then get the calories in to be able to get the weight back, because I had become so frail. I was almost to the point that there is no almost. I was anorexic, and no, it was not by choice. Okay. There was no bulimia involved. There was nothing like that. Like I said, I'm just a muscled person, because I lift weights and, do all that. And when I got so sick and the atrophy set in, and I was just sick to my stomach and all of that, that weight just came off. So that failure to thrive came right along with it. And so that weight was put back on very controlled, because I always see people talk about, different types of diets that they're on. And, I want you guys to know to please discuss it with your doctor, because it is not always good. Yes, plant-based anything, because if you look back and you think back to hundreds of years ago, everybody planted their own stuff. They did that. I'm not saying that that's not a bad thing, because guess what? That's a great thing. It's a great thing. But guess what? At the same time, something is going to need to replace something that you may not be getting. For example, I believe it's broccoli contains protein. So if you're not taking in meat, you may want to add, broccoli and some other stuff to the diet. The best person to get that information from is a nutritionist. Okay. And if that nutritionist is working hand in hand with you and also all of your doctors, you're going to see great results, and you'll probably deal with less MS symptoms in the process of doing it. Okay. Another thing that I want to talk to you guys about too is that no matter what your disease process is, no matter what it is, it can be diabetes, it could be fibromyalgia, it could be, lupus, it could be Sjogren's, MS. I don't care. No matter what it is that a person is sick with, no matter what it is, know that every doctor that you see, it is important that every doctor that you see, that they know all medications that you take, and this does include supplements and also over-the-counter medications. It is important because some medications, they don't work well together. One medicine can cross out another medicine and things of that nature. And also, it is very important when it comes to over-the-counter medications, because some things cause drowsiness, and yes, they're sold over the counter. And even with your supplements, you want to make sure that it's something that your doctor can, take a look at and, know what it contains and all that good stuff. If it's a multivitamin, just so they know exactly what you're taking. In the event that you cannot advocate for yourself, your records are up to date and they are good to go with exactly what it is that you do on a daily basis and what it is that you take. Again, if it's an over-the-counter medication, say your allergies start to act up and you have to take Benadryl on occasion, make sure your doctor knows that as well. Okay? Make sure that they know that as well. Okay, just don't, scratch it off. Or even Tylenol. Make sure that they know that, hey, I'll tend to run a little fever, before I take my medicine, or maybe after I take my medicine, so I'll have to take Tylenol. Make sure that they know that. It is very important. And again, that's where journaling, which was one of the first things that I talked about, becomes very important for you. Okay, another thing that is probably going to become or be a little bit of a shocker to people, but I am going to go ahead and talk to you about it. Melatonin. I know there are so many people that swear by melatonin. I used to be one of those people. And the reason why I talked to you about what I just talked to you about before, about every doctor needing to know what you take to include supplements and over-the-counter medication, is because I got my hand slapped. Not physically, okay? Just pow, hey, whoa, okay? Melatonin. Melatonin is a double-edged sword when it comes to multiple sclerosis. It is a double-edged sword. It can be good for people with MS, but it also can be linked to seasonal relapse rates with MS. But it's also being studied to help with T cells and sleep with patients with multiple sclerosis. So, I literally was told by my doctors to not take melatonin. I have not taken melatonin since they told me not to. I have not taken it anymore. And I will not take it until they tell me that it is okay for me to do so. Now, I say this to you guys because melatonin, again, is a medicine that affects your serotonin levels in the brain. And again, when you have MS and all of that is dealing with the myelin sheath and everything and your brain and how your brain is sending signals, like a lot of times we really don't break it down and look at exactly how things work. So I want you guys to please discuss with your doctors if you do take melatonin, and make sure that your doctor knows that you take melatonin. Also, feel free to Google about melatonin, because it will also, you will see the different research and studies that's going on where it can be linked to seasonal relapses, and that they're also at the same time doing these studies with it with T cells, with sleep in patients that have multiple sclerosis. So it is a double-edged sword. It isn't completely vetted yet with the studies. And again, my doctors told me not to take it, so I don't take it. But I do see many people that say that they do. So I wanted to make sure that I, talk with you guys about that, because it's important, because sometimes we don't know and we'll hear somebody else say, oh, I just take melatonin and everything works. I take it and I'm good and I'm able to get some sleep. Or you'll even hear other people say, I've tried melatonin and it didn't do anything for me. Go figure. Isn't that amazing? Because guess what? Snowflake disease, no two people are the same. Again, everything's not completely vetted with the studies yet, but they do know that it is linked to seasonal relapse rates with MS. But they're also studying it with the T cells to help with sleep. So just talk with your doctors, because sometimes some of our doctors may not know this. So hey, we can all help each other. We can help educate our doctors and our doctors can help educate us, right? So just keep that in mind. Excuse me, y'all, I got to get a drink because I'm still a little bit sick. Okay, so the other thing I want to talk to you guys about is driving. And that's with any disease. That's with any. Now, I will tell you all, I'll save that till later. Let me go ahead. Driving. This is with any illness. If you are experiencing extreme symptoms or something new all of a sudden out of your normal is happening to you, please do not drive yourself to the emergency room or emergency department, as it's known now, that most places call it. What's best is to call 911 or do like that old show and phone a friend to come and drive you, because I do not want to see anybody have an accident while driving, because that can result in harm to you trying to get yourself there. That can cause death in you and other people that are on the road that are completely innocent, okay? Safety first, you guys. Safety first. I see so many people sometimes say, oh my gosh, drive yourself to the emergency room right now. Please, please, please don't do that. If it's something that is really, really bad and you're having dizziness, you're having headaches, you're having tunnel vision, you're having vision issues, you're having heart palpitations, anything like that. You've been having episodes of syncope, which is fainting. Sorry about that. I try not to use big medical terms. Um, but fainting, blood pressure dropping, things like that, please call for help. Don't get on the road and try to drive yourself, because you are putting yourself in more danger, and also everyone else that is on the road. What I really want people to know is that criminal charges can happen if there's an accident, and especially if it's negligence on your part that you still made that decision to get behind the wheel, and not to mention civil suits. People can turn around and sue you if there's an accident, and it causes death or bodily harm, or damage to somebody's property. Because I know it's scary when things like that happen, but remember, call 911. Call a friend to come and get you so that you safely get to the hospital. That is what is most important. And I always say this to my kids: trouble is so easy to get into, but it's hard to get out of. Usually, to get out of trouble, it's going to cost you a lot of money. Because as we all know, lawyers aren't cheap and doctors aren't cheap either. Okay. So, just know that that is what is most important, is to arrive safely, to get the help that you need, to get there safely, and not just to think about yourself, but to think about other people that are on the road as well. I know it can be scary. Just about everybody has a cell phone. Even if you have an iWatch, you can hit on that iWatch, you can press to power it down, and it has SOS emergency, I believe. Hit that, and literally it'll connect to 911 as well. Okay. Please don't try to drive yourself. That's definitely not a good thing. And again, now, in my defense, when I did drive myself to the hospital, they had gotten me to a lot better place, where I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Me and Jesus, we're gonna take this wheel, and we're gonna get there, and we're gonna get there safely. It did take me a lot longer than what it normally takes, because I had to stop and stretch and, try to blink and, okay, don't shoot me for this, but drink some Mountain Dew so that, I could get some caffeine, to kind of just help me along the way. It was all done safely. People at different stops, even ambulance services at different stops, that, check over me, just to make sure that I made it there, because that is what's important, is arriving safely to, any location. Guys, it's so easy. And I also want to say too, because I don't want anybody to think that, oh, is she saying this about me? No. This is not about anyone at all. It absolutely is not. Because you know what? People mean well. And I know that people mean well whenever they send, me something like, hey, did you see this? Or, hey, do you want to try this product? Or do you want to try that product? Guess what? No matter what product it is that you send me that you may want me to try, I'm going to have to run that past an allergist, because given having autoimmune disorders, my immune system is so hyperactive that I cannot be allergic to something one day and the next day I'm allergic to it. It's crazy, So they're going to look at every single thing that's in it, every single ingredient that's in it. They're going to tell me if I would just be wasting my money, that sort of thing. But I know that people mean well. So by all means, please send, if you want me to try, guess what? I'll do it. But just know it's going to be ran by my doctors first. And I know that people's intent is to not hurt someone's feelings, because I'll see people say, I'm so tired of people telling me if I get this or if I do this, I'm so tired of it. I really don't think that people mean it, in a bad way. They really don't. They just think, well, maybe this will help so and so because she has MS or diabetes or, whatever. They don't mean it in a bad way. They really don't, and it's not worth, tearing up a friendship or whatever. Just tell the person, many people have tried it. There's websites you can go to. You can Google whatever the product is, an MS, and read literature on, actually about it, actually go to different world renowned hospitals and see what they say about, the products, and also talk to your doctor. Once again, talk to your doctor. Your doctor will tell you if you would be wasting your money investing into some type of, product, or not. There was a product that my hospital had agreed for me to take, and I took it. And let me tell you something, that stuff was amazing. It was because they checked with allergies, everything. It worked great, and it, eventually I ended up with allergies to it because, like I said, it's ever changing. With 1 minute you're not allergic to something and the next minute that you are. But that product, worked very well for me. And I know that people's intentions are great, but just know too that sometimes it can be dangerous, what they're trying to maybe get someone to do, and in order to salvage, friendships, because I'm all about supporting my friends that have their own businesses. I'm all about it. From LuLaRoe to, whatever. I'm all about supporting my friends. I just, because if I had, a small business of my own, I would want my friends to do that exact same thing, but it's very important too that our friends, in the love that they have for us, that they research, and do a lot of research, and maybe even link in with some, places and talk to them, and really see, if the product is beneficial for people with certain disease processes. And again, about diet, it's so important, you guys, that your doctors know what you're taking in. It is very important. With if too much of anything bad or good can be bad. That's just the way it is. Some people's bodies with protein, they'll get to a point where they can't break it down. Not saying that that's an MS process, because it's not. It can happen just generally to anyone. But just know that anything in excess can be good or bad. And I know some of y'all have had a hangover and you're probably like, ew, I am not drinking tequila again ever. Then the next party that comes around, guess what? You got tequila with some lemon in it, right? Even though you got hit pretty hard, with that hangover from drinking that tequila before, you'll kind of, go back to it again. But it is what it is. We all learn through, trial and error. But just know that some trials that we try in life can lead to very life-altering errors. I did it myself when I decided that I was just going to cut so much from my diet, and I messed myself up so bad. So if I can help anybody with what I've been through on my journey with MS, that's exactly what I'll do. Is I'll talk about it. I'll take the hits, and I'll let you guys know. There's no shame, not at all. I'll let you guys know exactly mistakes that I've made, so that hopefully, you don't make them as well. And I'll let you guys know everything that I've learned to do, which is discussing everything with every single doctor that I have, because that is so important. And remember, you guys, research melatonin. Do some research. Check it out. Read everything with all the new research and literature that's out there with that. And remember, you guys, if you are in a crisis, do not drive. If you are having sudden extreme symptoms that are outside of your normal, please call 911 or phone a friend to get you to the hospital. Be safe, you guys. Be safe in everything that you do. Take care, and I hope to see you guys again next week. Take care. Love y'all. Bye.